In this video, we'll cover what every photographer and filmmaker should know about color temperature. And thanks to Storyblocks for sponsoring this video. At its core, color temperature is just a system of numerical values used to measure the color of light. These numbers lie on the Kelvin scale, and you're probably most familiar with it when adjusting your white balance. But where white balance is adjusting what shows up as true white, color temperature is telling you how cool or warm your light source is. So for instance, my studio light here for filming is 5500 Kelvin, which is considered daylight. So for something white in my scene to show up as true white, I would want my white balance on this camera set to 5500 Kelvin to match the temperature of my light source. That's all fairly basic, right? If you enter a room filled with tungsten light, you're probably used to lowering the Kelvin temperature on your camera's white balance to neutralize the overwhelming warmth. So you may think a lower Kelvin temperature equates to cooler colors, but the opposite is true of our color temperature scale. Just think of cooking on a gas stove. The bluer flame is hotter, or a higher Kelvin temperature, than the yellow and orange flames. Think of your white balance Kelvin temperature as the temperature of light you are neutralizing. If you have a tungsten bulb in your scene and you want it to appear white instead of yellow, adjusting your white balance to 3200 will neutralize that tungsten look. Here are the most common lights and their associated temperatures. 1000 to 2000 is candlelight. The 2500 to 3500 range is your household tungsten bulb. 3000 to 4000 Kelvin is sunrise and sunset. 4000 to 5000 for fluorescent lamps. 5000 to 5500 is electronic flash. 5000 to 6500 is the range for daylight. 6500 to 8000 for moderately overcast skies. 9000 to 10,000 Kelvin is shade or heavily overcast skies. You can always use a white balance different from the temperature of your lighting source as a creative choice, like they do in the show Ozark. So let's cover some different techniques utilizing color temperature in photos and film. First, consider how the color temperature of your scene affects the mood and perception. Obviously, you want the color temperature to reinforce what you're trying to say or the mood you want to evoke. For example, let's look at the show Ozark. They shot everything, interiors, exteriors, day and night, all at 4400 Kelvin, which gave it its defining cool and moody look, which perfectly complements the gritty subject matter of the show. So even in scenes lit with tungsten light, the temperatures are cooled off, retaining that blue-gray, dark and serious mood. In the film Moonlight, the color blue is a recurring theme. It's not only part of the set design, costume design, and color grade, but check out the color temperature in Chiron's Atlanta apartment. His living room is lit tungsten and his kitchen is fluorescent, providing stark contrast and harkening back to his roots in Miami. When he wakes up in a sweat from a nightmare, he's lit tungsten, alluding to an exterior street light and reinforcing how hot and sweaty Chiron is. Then, in his bathroom, we again have the stark contrast in temperature from the previous scene as he dunks his head underwater, cooling himself off. So not only do they serve some practical uses, it also ties in with the theme of the film. You can also use it to suggest different times of day or different times of the year. Consider this shot with a ballerina. With a warmer color temperature, this shot feels like a sunny summer afternoon. With a cooler color temperature, it feels more like a wintry morning, a little more sad and isolated. The differences are pretty stark and play a huge role in how your work is interpreted. And again, that's pretty basic, so let's look at a few more examples. You could utilize two-tone lighting, like that apartment from Moonlight, where you blend different color temperatures to create more visual interest. Usually one is warmer and one is cooler. You see this all the time on YouTube, especially with the use of practical lights, where the light source is also part of the set decoration. The subject is often lit with a 5500 Kelvin daylight, and their background will have a warmer light source or a cooler light source, or maybe both. This adds nice color contrast to your shot. And of course, the same applies for photography. Here, photographer Ryan Muirhead lights his subjects with daylight, but in the background, we have tungsten light on the right with a splash of softer, cooler light on the left, which all combines to create a beautiful image. In another shot by Ryan, his subject is lit with a tungsten lamp, and the blue window light in the background gives the image striking contrast. Combining yellows and blues like this usually results in visually pleasing images. You can probably pull off a lot of creative techniques with household items, but let's cover a few tools you can use to help. So first, obviously, having video lights can go a long way to help you achieve the specific looks you're after. Our main studio light here is an Aperture 120 Mark II daylight, so it has a set temperature of 5500 Kelvin. We also have a smaller LED panel with adjustable temperature where we can set whatever color temperature we want. So lately we've been using a warmer temperature and placing it behind me as a hair light. If you have a video light like our 120 Mark II that has a set temperature, you can buy relatively inexpensive gels to modify your light's temperature. CTO or color temperature orange, which can take a daylight light down to 2900 Kelvin. CTB or color temperature blue can be used to take tungsten to daylight. You can also use gels to bring in other colors as well if you'd like. Then you could also use colored accent lights, like this Aperture Amaran MC, which allows you to set any hue and saturation level you'd like. Or something like this smart bulb will allow you to use it as a practical light with whatever temperature and intensity that will work best for your scene. And finally, consider playing with your camera's white balance. You don't always have to match the temperature of your key light. For instance, a 5600 white balance with 3200 tungsten lights can give you a beautifully warm scene. Another tool that can help you better tell your story is our sponsor, Storyblocks. Storyblocks helps you bring your stories to life without sacrificing your vision due to time, budget, or resources. They have a massive, ever-growing library of stock footage, After Effects and Premiere Pro templates, music, images, sound effects, and more, giving you everything you need to bring your stories to life. All assets are royalty-free, so you can use your downloaded content anywhere for commercial use, like proving your medical practice is actually legit, and personal use, like proving to your mom you have a girlfriend and she is totally legit. Regardless, there are subscription plans for every budget, like the Unlimited All Access plan, which gives you unlimited downloads to over 1 freaking million assets in their library. Looks like I'm gonna need a bigger hard drive. To check out Storyblocks for yourself and sign up for their unlimited all access plan, click that link in the description. Well, that's it for this video. We hope you learned something new. If you would, hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and hitting the thumbs up button on this video will sure help this channel out, so just go ahead and do it, just right down there. All right, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.